I don't know if you've seen some of the news headlines and such about the prices for touring in New Orleans right now, or Nawlins.
Really expensive.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
Somebody who just got back from that region is a San Francisco Chronicle travel expert, Spud Hilton, and he's on the line with us right now to talk a little bit about the Crescent City. A very good day to you, sir.
Good morning, Randall. Good morning, Patty.
Now, Spud, if I remember correctly, when we were emailing several months ago, didn't you do a kayak tour of the Mississippi River there around New Orleans?
Yeah, that was the plan. What it is it's not so much the Mississippi River as there's an old defunct canal. It's called Bayou St. John, and basically you can get in a kayak and just go through the middle of New Orleans. You're basically riding through the backyards of rich people, and you're going through golf courses, and then you're actually going through some of the central business districts. It's a wonderful way to view the city in a different way than usual.
Wow, that sounds really amazing. So I have never been to New Orleans. I'd love to go at some point, but I'm always hearing about the different cool things, the beads, the beignets. What's the coolest thing from someone who has been there? What's the coolest thing about the city?
Well, I gotta be honest with you. The beads and the beignets are the cool tourist things.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, the whole Bourbon Street is a scene unto itself, and it's great for people watching. The beignets are just a wonderful food, but don't go in the morning. Go in the afternoon, because it's a lot less crowded at that point. You can actually get a table.
They're like a little donut?
Yeah, it's basically a deep-fried lump of dough on which they toss so much powdered sugar that most of it actually falls off onto the table and onto the ground, where the pigeons down below look a little like heroin addicts because they just eat powdered sugar.
Right.
It's really bad. They've got little powder around their lips and everything. It's bad.
Oh, gosh.
But no, I think some of the things that people overlook, and not so much in recent years, but there's finally some awareness of the Marigny, Faubourg Marigny, which is a whole district over by Frenchman Street that is a lot more interesting than it used to be. It's safe. It's got some great little shops. It's got some great little coffee houses and things like that, and some great music to do. There's another neighborhood. If you get on the St. Charles streetcar, and you just keep going, you catch it on Canal Street, and you just keep going, you will end up in a little neighborhood called Carrollton. This is a neighborhood like a lot of neighborhoods that wasn't touched by Katrina. There was no water even near it, and it's this great little funky neighborhood with some a lot of places that are local businesses, and they do some great things. But there's a restaurant there called Jacques and Moe's, and you can't miss this restaurant. You absolutely have to get that restaurant. That's a great cool thing. Everybody's talked about at some point, but the D-Day Museum keeps expanding and keeps getting better, and it's actually probably one of the best overall historical museums in the country, and at some point everybody ought to visit.
Wow. They also have the Museum of the American Cocktail is there.
Yes, they do. I can testify to that myself.
It's a city that likes its libations, is it not?
Well, it is. And it's funny, we had this conversation 6-7 years ago where everybody said, oh, New Orleans is going to be gone. New Orleans is never going to be the same. And quite honestly, New Orleans is a town that's had so many disasters over the years that is part of its personality.
Uh-huh.
It's brushed with death so many times that it has a love of life like no other city in the country and possibly the world.
One thing that I find interesting, I have been to New Orleans, and is the fact of because of its position, the below sea level, the graves are above ground.
Yes, yeah, no, and actually I'm glad you brought that up, because the graves are above ground. Some of the most popular cemeteries are right around the French Quarter or in the Garden District, St. Louis and Lafayette graves. But if you go outside of town, there's the Metairie Cemetery, and this is a little bit younger than the others, but not much. But this was a cemetery from when all of the society families decided that they wanted to outdo each other.
Oh.
So there are crypts that look like libraries, and there's a Egyptian sphinx sitting in front of a pyramid, and there's all these incredible crypts out there because everybody was trying to outdo everybody else in how they were going to die, and nobody goes out there. So Metairie Cemetery is a streetcar ride out or a cab ride out, and it's well worth seeing. But you're right, everything's above ground. I'll let you in on a little secret, though. When they moved most of those early graves, a lot of the time they didn't take the bodies with them.
It's like Poltergeist.
They just moved the graves. So basically almost every square inch of the French Quarter has bodies under it somewhere.
Talk about knowing where the skeletons are.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right.
Oh my goodness! So of course, Nawlins or New Orleans. We've seen how crazy it gets, like when we watch, the coverage of Mardi Gras or some big event there. What is it going to be like for Super Bowl?
Oh yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what they're doing is they're actually suspending. See, people think of Mardi Gras as just Fat Tuesday, as the day. Mm-hmm. There's a whole parade season. There's actually a couple months of parade season where different neighborhoods will actually have their own parades in that neighborhood. So I love going for parade season, but you could not pay me to be there for the actual day of Mardi Gras.
You know what? I have to agree because it's pretty much Mardi Gras year-round, and I like to go when it's a little quieter. Spud Hilton, San Francisco Chronicle travel writer, great information about a city that will be in the spotlight 1 week from today. Go Niners, Spud!
Thanks, guys.